We can explore bacteria, but at the same time, they can study us as bacteria. Recently, the longtime chief Dmitry Rogozin unexpectedly negotiated about UFOs and extraterrestrial life, and soon after his statements, Vladimir Putin removed him from his position. Another unexpected scientific study comes from Ukraine, where Ukrainian researchers discovered that the sky above Ukraine is full of unidentified flying objects categorized into two groups: cosmic objects and phantom objects. These objects move at incredible speeds, invisible to the human eye, but luckily captured and recorded by specialized cameras and devices that track the sky above Ukraine. You will have the opportunity to see how elusive these objects are in a fantastic video that was just released in South Korea a few days ago.
이때 슉 지금 보셨어요? 슝 보셨습니까? 슝 이거 입에서 나는 소리가 아닙니다. 입은 가만히 있잖아요. 슝.
It seems that a great spectacle is happening above our heads, of which we are not even aware. Welcome to the dark side of reality channel. In the past few months, since the war broke out in Ukraine, several videos have appeared showing unidentified flying objects in very poor quality with only a few pixels. I didn't want to waste my time or yours on those videos, so here are some specific and unusual shots of the lights over Kiev. In recent months, everything from various types of drones to planes, rockets and missiles have been flying in the sky over Ukraine. While the skies over Ukraine are full of warlike activity, it is unexpected to see people trying to identify whether they are looking at drones, missiles, or actual UFOs. But surprisingly, just a few months ago, a group of Ukrainian researchers published a very serious study about UFOs in the sky above Ukraine. By serious, I mean a real scientific study. I will leave a link to their work in the description of today's video. From the main astronomical observatory in Kiev, they published a very detailed study in which they managed to record very interesting objects that are usually invisible to the human eye during the day. As they write, it was necessary to use very sensitive equipment set up for the so-called hunting of such UFOs and the search for super-fast objects that the human eye cannot register, either because of their height or because of their incredible speed. These observations were made at 2-meter monitoring stations, one in Kiev and the other in the small village of Vinarivka, located in the south of Kiev. These objects are observed at a height of several tens of kilometers in the troposphere, up to several thousand kilometers in space. Their brightness was measured, and luminous objects of unknown nature were called cosmic objects, while non-reflective black objects were called phantoms. All these objects moved at incredible speeds of over 10,000 kilometers per hour. Simply put, cosmic objects are luminous phenomena that represent the most common type of UFO. However, in this research, what interests me personally are phantom objects, the so-called black non-reflective objects, which they called phantoms. These objects, photographed at a height of 6 kilometers, are 12 meters long, black in color, and fly at a formation speed of 15 kilometers per second. To be more understandable, 15 kilometers per second is 54,000 kilometers per hour, and that is slightly less than the height of the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. Nothing we officially know about Earth's technology, including Russian and American-made hypersonic rockets and missiles, flies anywhere near those speeds in the planet's atmosphere. At these speeds and altitudes, Ukrainian researchers with their equipment were able to photograph these phantom objects in flight and were able to record 3 such objects flying in formation in the sky above Ukraine. The height of 6 kilometers and the speed of 15 kilometers per second. What you are looking at is not and cannot be any kind of satellite because, firstly, satellites do not look like this or travel at such high speeds, especially not in the atmosphere of a planet at a height of 6 kilometers. Satellites travel at much lower speeds in the vacuum of space without any resistance, and what you are currently seeing has been given a perfect name by Ukrainian researchers: phantoms. These are black, non-reflective objects that hardly reflect any form of radiation. Ukrainian researchers have detailed in their work how they tracked these anomalies and presented detailed calculations in their observations. I won't go into too much detail about the physics and mathematics behind it, but what is crucial to their work is that these objects are both cosmic and phantoms, which I combined in the title and called Cosmic Phantoms. They are invisible to the human eye, and their appearance and illumination occur in tenths of a second, making them literally invisible to human eyesight. Biologically, our eyes simply do not have the reaction speed to register such objects, which is why special equipment was necessary for this Ukrainian research on these cosmic objects. Personally, I am not so interested in these cosmic objects because we have known about them for a long time. They are classic cosmic flashes and some disks with incredible abilities that appear and disappear in fractions of a millisecond. For me personally, these phantoms are much more interesting. These obviously black flying objects flying in formation in the atmosphere of a planet at a height of 6 kilometers at speeds of 54,000 kilometers per hour. It looks impressive, but it's even more impressive when you know the data on known speed records in our planet's atmosphere. Today, one of the fastest objects in the atmosphere is the Russian Kinzhal hypersonic rocket, which reaches incredible speeds, and by incredible speeds we mean speeds of up to 12,000 kilometers per hour. We're talking about a hypersonic missile, which looks like this missile, which at 12,000 kilometers per hour is nowhere near the speed of these objects flying in formation. These objects are obviously not rockets or missiles, but spacecraft that came from somewhere and are going somewhere. And the best thing is that we don't know if that's their top flight speed at these speeds in a planet's atmosphere with the external air resistance required by Star Trek materials and Star Trek engineering. Today, officially, and I repeat officially, we are unable to produce anything similar to those vehicles and their performance. Hypersonic rockets and missiles are not even close, let alone aircraft of this shape. So the question arises, whose aircraft formation is it and where did it come from? For years since the 1980 seconds, there have been rumors about the American Black Aurora program, which refers to the Aurora hypersonic spacecraft, the existence of which has never been officially confirmed. So today they are considered an ordinary myth and conspiracy theory. However, Internet rumors about possible formations that have been leaked to the public show some very interesting designs of this possible craft that supposedly does not exist. Compare this form of photography to an alleged design that supposedly doesn't even exist, and you'll quickly realize that there is an obvious similarity in shape and size. Is this the best visual evidence yet of the existence of such a top-secret project? This is entirely possible since the US is the country that currently controls Ukrainian skies, which is a very extensive topic that deserves a separate video. But apparently, there are obvious similarities between these alleged rumors and the actual physical phenomena that Ukrainian researchers have managed to capture, which is a very intriguing thing. The latest hard physical evidence is that objects fly over our heads at such high speeds that we cannot even register them with the naked eye. At speeds of 10,000 kilometers per hour, which is currently impossible from the engineering and scientific side, and what it looks like in practice when something flies over your head, you can see in this new example from just a few months ago that came from a South Korean golf course. A man playing golf and filming with a camera, completely unaware that at that moment, in a split second, an unknown object flew over his head at such a speed that even the camera could not capture their true shape. The best thing is that at this moment you are already observing the object at high speed. I'll slow down the video later, but for starters, watch the object at full speed. Without sound, without atmospheric resistance, without wind gusts that would cause such an aircraft to break the sound barrier, this man is completely unaware that something has flown over his head. Normally, with similar types of videos and such superfast objects appearing all over the world, sometimes, due to the camera angle, there is a possibility that a bird or insect will fly over your head and create the impression of a superfast object. But if you pay close attention, you can notice that whatever this is, it passes behind the spotlight pole, and that it is located about 60 to 100 meters away from the bushes. There is no living being on this planet that could cover such a distance in such a fraction of a second with such great speed. This is a truly fascinating video because the object is flying at such a high speed that it cannot be captured by the camera's recording speed. And that is why we get this elongated shape of the object and cannot determine its true appearance. This is definitely not a hypersonic rocket because it would have been heard from kilometers away and it would have eventually crashed somewhere. The object is obviously too small to be any kind of human aircraft with a crew. It is completely silent, and there is no air resistance or breaking of the sound barrier. All the basics of physics simply do not apply to this object. And that is precisely what is most fantastic about it. I decided to include this latest UFO video from South Korea in the Danish, Ukrainian, and Russian theme to demonstrate the speed of such aircraft. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in my math, but considering the distance of the lighting pole, which ranges from 50 to a maximum of 100 meters away, and the fraction of a second in which the object passes, this is not such a surprising speed. At best, I'm speaking roughly because we don't have exact data. In the best case scenario, we are talking about speeds of up to a few thousand kilometers per hour during flight, because if it were faster than that, the simple camera that recorded this man would not have captured the object. The frame rate of the camera itself and the recording speed would not have caught the frame in which the object appeared if it were flying at a higher speed. If a silent object can fly above your head at several thousand kilometers per hour and you are completely unaware of it, imagine speeds of at least 54,000 kilometers per hour, i.e., 15,000 kilometers in a single second. For such things, you already need specialized astronomical equipment, and luckily for us, Ukrainian researchers have just captured such objects with this type of equipment. Billions of mobile phones around the world become completely useless for such phenomena because they are impossible to photograph or record with a camera, except with specialized equipment, or sometimes with a lot of luck and an ordinary camera. It is really a big question how often such situations occur above our heads, and we are not even aware of it. Ukrainian researchers did not offer any conclusion from their study or any assumptions about what this might be. They collected scientific measurements and data from a few photographs and presented them to the public, leaving it up to them to conclude whether it was the Aurora project or something completely different. The video from South Korea is an even greater mystery, for which we have no other data besides the video itself. And finally, at the end of the video, we are going to Russia, where a very interesting situation occurred in the 6th month of this year. It was when the longtime head of the Russian space agency, Dmitry Rogozin, unexpectedly gave statements to the Russian media and television that were not at all expected at that time. He talked about Russian investigations of UFOs that have been conducted for the past 10 years by the Russian military and the Academy of Sciences. He also spoke about statements made by Russian pilots who encounter these phenomena almost daily, which is not surprising given that we know about such things, and this is not new. But then he made a very interesting statement. He said that he personally believed, and had discussed with some key people who shared his opinion, that the UFO phenomena were caused by extraterrestrial intelligences that have visited our planet and are studying us for some reason. He believed that these phenomena cannot be explained by rational and logical means like natural phenomena, but rather by the possibility that extraterrestrial intelligences are studying us in the same way that we might study bacteria on Earth. What this man said is not revolutionary, but it is significant when the head of the Russian space agency and a close associate of Vladimir Putin speaks about it. He is not a UFO researcher or a YouTuber, but a person in a very important position who is certainly familiar with things that the average person can only dream of. Shortly after his statement, within a period of 1 day, Vladimir Putin inexplicably replaced this longtime director, a man who was otherwise a vocal supporter of Putin's policies, and who even publicly supported Russia's attack on Ukraine. This man was removed from this very important position, and no official explanation was given for Putin's move. For now, the reason why this happened is unknown. But some people believe that he may have talked too much about extraterrestrial life and UFOs, which is unusual for a person in such a high position. And honestly, this man did not reveal any secrets, but only talked about things that ordinary people have been discussing for the past 70 years. In any case, it is a very strange event from Russia and a move by Vladimir Putin. At the end of today's video, I left you with an alleged video from Ukraine that was recorded about 10 years ago. This video was posted on Instagram by Tom DeLonge. Personally, I think that the scientific research and photos of Ukrainian researchers have much more weight due to the scientific approach and irrefutable data compared to the video you are about to see. We don't know who shot the video, nor do we have witness statements. Ultimately, we can't even be 100% sure if it's an authentic video or an attempt at manipulation. But given that it was reposted by this man, who is part of the organization partially behind the legendary Pentagon videos and footage, it carries some weight. Furthermore, the classic dematerializations of such objects typical of classic UFOs are shown at incredible speed. But check it out and judge for yourself. You are on the dark side of Reality Channel, a place where truth sometimes sounds stranger than fiction. See you again soon. Goodbye.